Hello and welcome to the Essence of Tea podcast. And today I have this super fun, festive recipe for you who are tea lovers and are just interested in something very unique and different to do with your teas. So for this holiday season, we're always thinking of spices and parties like Thanksgiving and Christmas and cookies and different treats like that. Well, I have a special treat for you today, and it is our Orange Spice Gingerbread Cake. So with the Orange Spice Gingerbread Cake, the first thing we're going to need to do is get Sipping Stream's Spice Melange, black tea, that's an orange spice, black tea, and our masala chai together, because our recipe for our orange spice molasses gingerbread cake is going to actually call for a cup of hot water. But instead of trying to find all the spices that you have, you're going to use the spices with the black tea and steep it as a hot cup of tea. So here I have my Finum glass cup, and I'll show you really quickly how to get that going, and we'll go through the rest of the recipe together. So are you excited with me? Send me some hearts if you're watching live today, and give me some thumbs up. Make sure that you like and follow us on social media on Instagram and Facebook so you'll be notified every time we go live with another live podcast from the Essence of Tea. So let me show you how I'm going to quote unquote make this a double strength of tea and packing it full of the spices and the orange flavor in the tea ingredient part before we start making all of our dry ingredients together. Okay, so over here we've got our cup with our infusers. So we have this double wall glass cup, and it makes 8 ounces. So we're going to make a full cup of tea. I'm going to grab my tea scoop. I already have my hot water heated up in my digital kettle for the perfect temperature. And I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of the spice melange, which is this beautiful black tea with orange and cloves, and just reminds you of the holidays and cookies and baking. And then we're going to also add our masala chai, which has our cardamom, some more cloves, some cinnamon, some ginger, all those things that you're going to want in a gingerbread cake, or an orange spice gingerbread cake. So since normally we put in 1 teaspoon per 8 ounces of hot water, I just put 2 teaspoons. So now you can see how this infusion is going to be power packed with our hot teas being double strength, because instead of using 1 teaspoon total, I've made a double serving of the 2 teaspoons in an 8-ounce cup. So I'm going to start steeping it with the hot water to start extracting all of that amazing flavor. I'm going to set my cup aside with the lid in it, because the ingredients do ask for a hot cup of water. So we need to make sure our cup of tea is a hot cup of tea and stays hot. Meanwhile, I already have my parchment paper in a 9-inch pan. And we're going to start mixing all of our dry ingredients together. Right, so for our dry ingredients, we got a bowl here, and this is actually one of my popcorn bowls, but I'm going to use it as a mixing bowl because it's the perfect size for the batter. So I'm going to add my white sugar, and if you know me and seen enough of these videos, you know that I never carry white sugar at home. So I actually have honey that I substituted in there, and I actually need to put less honey than what it calls for in the white sugar. So if you use half a cup of white sugar, you're going to use a little bit less in honey, because honey is just very dense with its sweetness. So you just want to make sure you're not going to over sweeten it. Okay. Now you're also going to mix up your flour. So I have whole wheat flour that's perfect for such a wet ingredient like honey. And I'm going to actually put in my 2.5 cups of flour. And I use whole wheat flour because that's usually what I use at home. And since it's a little bit more thick and fibrous, it's actually pretty good to mix it in something like a wet thing like honey, which is also going to make up for the wetness of the cup of tea that's going to be added in here. We want to add in our baking soda. So we're going to use 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. We definitely need to have our baking powder. So 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Oops, baking powder here. And we're going to also use 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And for my butter, and I'm usually leery about using too much salt in things, but for my butter, I chose to use a unsalted butter. So usually I bake with unsalted butter. And I already have it softening. So I'm going to just leave all of my dry ingredients with some of my honey. And I'm going to slowly just start tossing it and getting it going. So if you were going to put in sugar, these would be all your dry ingredients. But for me, I put the honey in with my dry ingredients. It'll be a little lumpy, but that's okay. I just want to start getting my honey all incorporated in there and tossing it around. Okay. Now, in a different container, I'm actually going to use my Ninja mixer, kind of like a food processor. But you can just use a whisk. So in a large bowl, you're going to want to cream the butter, sugar, and the eggs and the molasses all together. So let me show you. In my Ninja cup pitcher, I'm going to put all of my quote-unquote wet ingredients except for the honey into there. So I'm going to need my butter that's been warmed up or softened a little bit to room temperature. So it creams very nicely. It isn't hard work for the machine, or if you're using a kitchen whisk, it would be harder to whisk by hand ice cold butter. Okay, I'm just going to drop that in. And then I'm going to put in my egg. And now I'm going to add in all of my molasses. So I have a lot of molasses here. I want to use 1 cup of molasses. Gives it that brown look that you want typically on a gingerbread cake or cookies. Usually you use molasses. And the ginger now, you can see like we just totally skipped all the spices, but the spices are infused in that cup of the 2 teas blended together. There's 1 thing of molasses. And here's the rest of my molasses. And meanwhile, I want to preheat my oven to 350 degrees so I can get this going. I don't know how many of you are moms out there or have to feed large families, but you try to take shortcuts and get all your stuff ready so people aren't waiting for you. It's like, oh, when's food gonna be ready? I mean, I remember doing that when I was a kid to my parents. So what we're gonna do is mix those all up. I'm just gonna put my Ninja lid on. And let me quickly just mute so you don't have to hear me blend. All right, all mixed up, all nice and creamy. So from this angle, you'll be able to see it's all blended. The liquid is all blended together. I'm going to take the lid off, and I'm going to quickly mix in all of my dry ingredients. Carefully spooning them in. Now, if you love watching our podcast live or listening to it on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher.com, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all the many places our podcast is on, pretty much anywhere that you listen to podcasts, we would love for you to write a rating and review. And we would love to hear your feedback too. So if you can write a rating and review for us and screenshot it and email it to hello@sippingstreams.com every week until Christmas, every week during our live video podcast, we're actually going to be choosing a winner. And today I'll be reading one of the rating and reviews that we got last week. So get in on that right away so that we could write you a rating, read your rating and review. And as we do your shout out, we're going to send you a special thank you gift. So we would love for you to, give us a 5-star rating if you could, or just be honest. Make sure your feedback is honest. We would love to hear that. And let us know what you love about our podcast and what you want to see more of. And you can screen grab that before you send off the rating and review so we know what your podcast review looks like, so we can read it from your name, and send that to hello@sippingstreams.com. Let me mute this so I can mix this up, the batter up. Now it's becoming pretty chunky, and at this point, our tea is pretty strong now. Our cup of tea is pretty strong, pretty dark. It's still hot because we kept the lid on this Finum glass cup. So it's kind of important to keep the lid on it while you're steeping it so it doesn't cool off, because the ingredients ask for a cup of hot tea, right? With the spices in it. Instead of hot water, we're infusing our spices in there. And we're going to mix it all together now. Okay, so I'm going to take out my mixer, my stirrer. I'm going to just give it a little bit more mixing with my spatula. But pretty much most everything is incorporated. What I really like about the Ninja is I can just take the blade out itself, and then the bottom part is still a pitcher. Now, you might be wondering why I use one of these. Well, we have KitchenAids at the tea house, and at home, I'm hardly ever home, but in the restaurant, we'll use a regular food processor. We'll use mixers and things like that. But at home, I use like everyday appliance stuff. And usually these are appliances that people or family members have given to me before they moved. So I just want to show you at home what you could creatively do with your random appliances. No, I'm not sponsored by Ninja. I honestly probably would have never bought one of these for myself. So I was left this for when some of my family members moved. And so I inherited this Ninja, which I find very helpful for making fun tea ice creams, making smoothies, of course. But now I use it as a food processor. And you can see from this view that this totally looks like gingerbread cake. But this is now, oh my goodness, the aroma. Smells just like an orange spice gingerbread cake, essentially. And we're going to put that batter in our lined pan. Just scoop it all out. And we're going to want to bake this for 40 to 45 minutes. My oven at home is just like my oven at work, which is a convection oven. So if you have a convection oven, you might need to adjust your temperature settings to being a little bit lower. Your time might be a little bit faster, but the general suggestions for this baking time is going to be 40 to 45 minutes. Wow, there's a lot of batter in this thing. Actually, usually when I cook at home, I learned from my parents who are literally just a few inches taller than me, and we're so short. So using leverage is really important for us to like cook faster. And usually I'm standing on a step stool constantly. At work, I just kick around like a soccer ball my step stool in the kitchen to be able to scoop things out faster, get better leverage. So right now, with the camera, my head will be cut off if I use a step stool. But okay, I got pretty much everything out of there. All the batter. Scrape it, all the goodness out. Now, in chemistry, you'll know that's very important to try to have all your ingredients for something to turn out, just like in baking. So I very much try to not waste anything. First of all, just because frugalness, but second of all, it can change the way that it bakes. So here I've got my batter in my parchment paper lined pan. Now, you don't have to put parchment paper in it if you don't want to. You can grease it, throw some flour around the edges of it if you wanted to. I just like to pull everything out and just peel the parchment paper. It just makes it so much easier. So now we're going to put it in the oven and let it bake for about 40 to 45 minutes with the oven on 350 degrees. Now, remember, we used hot tea as an ingredient in here. And that hot tea was a vessel for the spices of cinnamon, ginger, cloves, orange zest. Instead of orange zest, we used an orange spiced tea blend in here. So if you choose to actually use orange zest yourself, great, go ahead and do it. But this is an easy way to not have to buy all those ingredients if you don't usually bake those types of things at home. So let me stick this in the oven. And set my timer on. All right, so let's go over one of the ratings and reviews that we have that someone sent, one of the viewers sent in to us. So one of the ratings and reviews that a listener followed through with and emailed us actually at hello@sippingstreams.com. She had actually written it on Apple Podcasts. So let me pull it up and see. Where that is. Okay. So this amazing rating and review with a 5-star review was written in and sent in from Catherine Pine. And she says, fall holiday drinks and podcasts. Just finished re-listening to holiday drinks and had to try the masala chai and apple. A soothing warm drink, a sense of fall. Can't wait to stop in and purchase the salted caramel apple this weekend. So at Sipping Streams, we hand blend all of our own teas and source our own ingredients. And with that, we teach you about the different teas, how to infuse them, different fun drinks you can make, and different infusions that you can create, including tea cocktails or our apple masala cider. So if you haven't listened to the Essence of Tea podcast yet, we would really love it if you subscribed to us and left us a rating and review. We would really appreciate that. So thank you so much, Catherine Pine. We have a prize for you. Our prize that we have for you today is this bamboo mason jar lid set with the straws. At Sipping Streams, we really try hard to practice sustainability and zero waste as much as possible. So with this, you get 2 mason jar bamboo lids. And as an example here, so this fits the wide mason jar lid. So if you've got any wide mouth jars, it's really nice because there's a silicone, BPA-free silicone edge on it, so it fits a number of jars pretty well. And then it comes with these sustainable stainless steel straws set that has a large thick straw that you can use for your boba or tapioca pearls or smoothies. And it also comes with a skinny straw too, and a cleaner to clean out your straws so you don't have any bacteria growing in there too, because we want you to stay safe, but we also want to be friendly to the planet. So this is an item that we don't usually sell at Sipping Streams Tea Company. We do sell the straw sets, but we don't have the bamboo lids yet. We will have those in very shortly. But Catherine, thank you so much for writing your rating and review and submitting it on Apple Podcasts. And you have just won this prize. So we would love for you to write to us and let us know if you want us to mail it to you or if you want to pop in locally here in Fairbanks, Alaska at Sipping Streams to pick up your prize. Now, I must say we have some absolutely amazing prizes coming up this month, including later this month. You want to get your ratings and reviews in as soon as possible because we're actually giving away 24 days of tea in a Christmas Advent calendar box the second week. I think it's the 3rd week of November. So the 3rd week of November, we're going to be really pushing out, asking for people to write ratings and reviews because the following week we'll be actually giving away a Christmas Advent calendar box full of tea that makes over 100 cups of tea. Over 100 cups of tea. So you really want to get in on that. It will make tea for 24 different days if you can even keep up with it. We have done this probably for about 4 or 5 years now, I think going on 5 years. And this is a Christmas Advent calendar box that is very popular, all full of tea. Even if you send it as a Christmas gift for the holidays, people would still love having 24 days of different teas. Now, this gift normally retails for $55. So if you're interested, you can check it out at sippingstreams.com, but we would love to see your ratings and reviews. Make sure you screen grab or screenshot it before you email us at hello@sippingstreams.com. So make sure you email us a picture of your rating and review to hello@sippingstreams.com so we can make sure that we give you credit, proper shout out, and so we could email you also in case you missed the live episode where you want us to send your gift. So every week until Christmas, every Tuesday, we will be announcing another winner for our rating and reviews for the Essence of Tea podcast. Now, we have all sorts of great holiday things coming up in the month of November. And if you want a copy of this recipe, we're actually going to be giving out a copy of this recipe until midway through November. So if you happen to order from us at sippingstreams.com, if you happen to be ordering from us, we're actually going to put in this recipe for you. So check out your packages that come in. And if you are going to gift somebody some of the items from sippingstreams.com, we'll just sneak it in with the gift too. We offer gift wrapping and we have all sorts of great specials that you can get great, amazing discounts for the month of November, including and especially because of Cyber Week with Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Shop Small Saturday, and this really cool thing coming up, which is our Cyber Monday virtual shopping spree you won't want to miss out on. If you want to get updates about when we have these special sales and events, just go to sippingstreams.com. You'll see a little pop-up there. You can sign up to be on our email list. And if you sign up on our email list, we'll even send you a special coupon. So lots of great things happening. And let's check out that cake in a little bit. And the cake's done. So let's get it out of the oven. It is very, very, very hot. I'm going to gotta make some space here. And how you know the cake is done all the way is you definitely want to make sure you have a toothpick. But for me, like I don't have toothpicks at home, so I have a shish kebab skewer. I'm put on this pad here. Let's clear space out of these teas and dishes. Just because it's really, really hot. I feel like this cake would be good for any time of the day. All right. Let's grab it out of the oven. Cloth there. Let's make sure it's done all the way. Okay. So totally comes out clean. Now, like I said before, the trick about the parchment paper is that I can literally lift the whole thing out all at once. So now I have this beautiful cake ready to be plated. You know, I'm going to put this hot pan on the oven here to cool off. And let's get a beautiful festive plate for it. Okay. So here we have very, very hot still. I got a Halloween kitty plate to flip this over on. Remove the parchment paper. Oh, you can see all of that steam. Put the other plate that I wanted on. Rotate it upside down. And now I have a beautiful, beautiful orange spiced gingerbread cake that I didn't actually have to do the work of zesting an orange, buying a single orange, getting the spices, all the individual spices, because I honestly don't make gingerbread cake that often. Let's cut into it and see what it looks like. So let's cut a little square. I love the corner piece. And I feel like this would go so well with the drizzle of honey. Oh, so steamy. All right. See how beautiful and gingerbreadish it looks with that molasses? Super, super steamy, so be careful. This literally tastes so spicy. I taste the bright orange that's in there from the spice melange, black tea. I honestly don't even taste the tea at all. But I taste a very, very complex amount of spices in there, and it's not too sugary sweet. So if you want to drizzle some frosting on here after it cools down, of course, or some honey, it definitely reminds me of eating cornbread, which I love eating with honey. So there you go. A beautiful, beautiful orange spice gingerbread cake that you made with tea. And join us next time for another podcast on the essence of tea. Now, don't forget to write in your rating and review and send them in to hello@sippingstreams.com to win every week until Christmas.